Всем привет! Мы продолжаем проходить Ктулху. Я вот забыл управление. Суть в том, что ко мне подселили соседа. Точнее, он заселился сегодня. И помните, я хотел купить игру. Так вот, у меня накрылся телефон, я даже не могу зайти в Steam. И да, то есть везение, как всегда, хоть какое-то есть. Да, сегодня я не бухой, поэтому все будет скучно. Я уже жду, когда начнется жесть. Кстати, я посчитал...
Let us go now and learn the truth about what's happening on this island.
The other night's events are still confused in my head.
Я почитал буквально страничку 5, как не бухнуть, конечно. По-моему, я это зря сделал. Это повлияет на вашу судьбу. В смысле, еще? Тупо я вчера вот так же сидел, чилил, разбил телефон и все, пиздец. А на утро еще сосед пришел. В общем, суть в том, что я прочитал буквально пару страничек по Ктулху. У меня есть книга, и происходящее в игре, оно схоже, но все-таки здесь сюжет отдельный, по сути. Это хорошо. Но я, наверное, не буду читать, потому что проходим игру. Мне, кстати, очень интересно, что за ситуация... Стоп. Мы, скорее всего, могли выйти прогуляться по дому и пройти назад. Мы сразу пошли вперед, ну ладно. Сейчас мы отправляемся в резиденцию для живописи двух художниц. Кстати, по поводу героев. Помните, как убила Менте, он оказался жив. А теперь вспомните, капитана корабля, капитана острова, так сказать, который был в порту, который нас сюда привез. Когда мы нашли фотографию его же, и он сказал то, что это был его отец. Как бы, да, вы улавливаете суть этого.
What can I do for you, sir?
Mrs. Sanders, I'm a private detective. We must talk about your husband and his ties to Sarah Hawkins. Can I come in?
You may. However, before we go any further, please know that my husband died yesterday.
That is precisely what brings me here.
Well, well, look who's here.
А ты-то что тут делаешь?
You know each other.
Our paths crossed, briefly. The brave detective has a talent for sticking his nose into my business.
I bump into her every time I'm investigating someone's death.
It's a small island, detective. My island. It's better that it's you bumping into me.
You're investigating Francis' death. Why? Who hired you?
I spoke to Francis before he died. His story suggests a link to a case I'm working on.
Well, since this business has got nothing to do with me, I'll be in your husband's office, Irene. We'll carry on later.
Very well, Miss Baker.
Кажется, то, что эта баба на самом деле...
This way, Mr. Pierce. And do make yourself comfortable. It would seem that you have much to tell me.
Да и баба сама стрёмная.
May I inquire as to when you had the opportunity to talk to my husband?
Ну так, когда
Yesterday.
лежали в психушке.
I met him at the hospital. He spoke to me about Sarah Hawkins.
Oh, of course he spoke to you about her. That's all he talked about. Sarah Hawkins and her paintings. Please forgive my tone. The fact is that I have not been allowed to see him since he was interned. You, on the other hand, a perfect stranger, were able to see him and even talk with him the day he died. How was he? Were you present when he had this attack? What happened?
What happened to your husband is terrible, Mrs. Sanders. But from what I saw, it was inevitable. The man I met yesterday had lost his reason. He suffers no longer, if you would allow me such a platitude.
Of course. Thank you for your kind words. Nobody in that hospital would have deigned to speak them to me. However, it will require more than that to soothe my mind. I need to understand. How could this happen? In a reputed institute? And right before your eyes? Did you not do anything to help him?
Mrs. Sanders, I understand your grief, and I extend my deepest condolences to you. But I had nothing to do with the death of your husband. I've just arrived on Darkwater. I'm investigating the death of the Hawkins family.
The death of the Hawkins family? You mean it was not an accident? This accursed island knows only tragedy after tragedy. You too would be advised to flee it like the plague. Oh, I'm tired, Mr. Pierce. I would be grateful if you could tell me what you expect of me, and then leave.
О чем мы от нее хотели, я сам забыл.
May I ask you what Miss Baker is doing here? How do you know her?
My business with Miss Baker is private, Mr. Pierce.
But you do know what kind of business Miss Baker is in, don't you?
I am no fool. Please believe that much, at least.
I deduce that your husband already mentioned this dimensional shambler.
Well, you can imagine that's all he talked about. It's exhibited at the center of the gallery. No better place for the painting that endowed him with the privilege of such a shameful and miserable end to his life.
Hold on. The Shambler is a painting by Sarah Hawkins.
Who else to paint such horrors? Take a look for yourself, if you feel so inclined.
It is my only lead at this stage. I suppose I have nothing to lose.
Then you have paid no heed. For my part, I refuse to set foot in that gallery again. But if you're so eager to see it, I would urge you to make the most of your visit. Because I count on ridding myself of that thing as soon as I can.
Thank you, Mrs. Sanders. I won't be long.
Слушай, я могу начать все смотреть, да? То есть вот сидит человек. Я такой.
Did she really care for him after all?
Серьезно? Серьезно? Не, ну Фуллера мутило, конечно, потому что происходит. Да, он еще и спиздил.
The day the Shambler came into the Sanders' lives.
Жизнь здесь столько вариаций.
Frances Sanders and Sarah Hawkins were close. Friends, even? A house of artists. A house of artists.
И типа...
Sanders' accession register. He wrote beside the Shambler, "Finally." What did Sarah Hawkins fear so much that she didn't want to sell the painting?
Может быть, она рисовала картину по снам. Бля, вот тут про снов, про сны было очень мало сказано, но в книге про это было много в самом начале.
He finally won. Was Sanders aware of his imminent doom? Was she jealous of Sarah Hawkins? She first refused to sell the painting. How did that make her feel? The Shambler. I need to see it.
Какие стрёмные картины. Это тупо клише всех хорроров. А этот дом весь строится на этом. Удивительно, что чувак ёбу дал. Слушай, когда у нас уже... Медицина... Они сами поднимаются, мы их не прокачиваем. Они поднимаются сразу же. Я думал, надо протыкивать. Нет, протыкивать не надо. Ну и шикарно. Кстати, сила вообще еще особо не нужна. Не знаю, сюжет двигается так спокойно. Мне кажется, все-таки игра очень быстро закончится, несмотря на вариативность. Похоже на дом Сары.
Let's see what this cylinder has to say once it's inserted in a phonograph.
Какие стрёмные эти. Я думаю, там какая-то крепота была. Да, нормально так.
Irene, I made a mistake. I fear that it might be too late for me. Nobody should enter, except to burn everything. I never had the courage. Pay somebody to do it. He's inside my head. I see him behind my eyelids each time I shut my eyes.
Ничего не скажешь.
I can't take anymore. I can't hold him back. Forgive me.
That accursed gallery. Those accursed paintings. That accursed Sarah.
Ничего не скажешь. Да, как всегда, типа не входи, не смотри, а мы идем. Ух, ёпта, блядь. Я испугался своей лампы, блядь. Почему он ее достал? Задел колесико. Интересно. Ага.
I could use one of those.
Снотворный каждый второй.
A strange Amerindian pendant.
Да, снова индийский.
Strange. For months, Sarah Hawkins refused to part with her painting, to finally give it away for nothing. Another volume of the Reverend's wife's diary.
Да, сны. Ну тут книги, да, как бы, понятное дело, сила. А если бы вот у нас сейчас была бы сила на нуле, типа, не смогли открыть эту хрень. Нихера. Так это... Малиус, Мистериум. Что-то я подумал, что это НЕКРОНОМИКОН, но это было бы совсем странно. Слушай, ну так это похоже. Нет, ну 100 пудов вот эта книга где-то есть во вселенной Лавкрафта.
That's twice you've stepped on my toes, Detective. Try not to make a habit of it.
I've got a lot of bad habits.
Some can be more fatal than others. What have you come looking for in this gallery?
Ну это тупо. Мне кажется, персонаж обосрется, поэтому. Ну честно, мне кажется, он нормальный просто.
Another painting by Sarah Hawkins.
Не знаю.
One connected to the horrors I've discovered on this island.
What a surprise. I'm listening.
And you? What brings you to the Sanders home?
I'm here on business. Irene asked me to liquidate all these paintings. She doesn't intend to hang around here for long.
Why you?
Believe it or not, there aren't many collectors on Darkwater. It needs someone with a network, and a means of transport to the mainland. A choice that comes down to Fitzroy and me. And I'm far more pleasant, wouldn't you say? Not now, sweetheart. I'd like to read this without some snoop looking over my shoulder.
Там был еще диалог, но она загорелась. Нихера себе у него галерея. Слушай, чувак тупо фанат Лавкрафта. Какие-то пивные, вот у меня тут лежат эти крышечки вот этого. Господи, как он называется? Теперь забыл. Сейчас даже свет включил. Жигулевского. О, и свет включился. Так.
These artifacts date from pre-Columbian times.
Слушай, конечно, круто. Блин, жучки. Тупо музей Лавкрафта. Тут мы можем спрятаться? К чему бы это? Не представляю, локация огромная. Все понятно. Вообще, взять ты его не можешь? Наверное, потом можно взять, когда тварь полезет. Я чего не дальше не краеугольный камень.
Why was he so interested in old weapons?
Это похоже на ритуальный нож, который мы находили, кстати. А, кстати, зачем мы его находили, если мы вообще не применили никак? Тоже интересно. Я вообще гид этой тематики. Игра нас готовит к тому, что тут будет темно, и тут будет гоняться за нами.
The man transformed an entire wing of his manor into an art gallery.
Невзначай. Ладно, погнали. Так, нет, я даже вот так сделаю. Нет, кстати, ничего нет.
Is this dagger part of Sanders' collection, or was he seeking to acquire it? Why was he so interested in old weapons?
Так это он, нет? Залупы тут.
Why was he so interested in old weapons?
Там еще. Слушай, может быть, ну да, скорее всего, мы сейчас можем этим же кинжалом.
These artifacts date from pre-Columbian times.
Выглядит прикольно, я бы такую себе повесил.
What the hell was that?
Так она ушла? Нет, не ушла. Ой-ой-ой. Слушай, тупо амнезия. Мама! Дебил, блядь! Не прошло и секунды, я сразу же... Ой-ой-ой. Весь. Слушай, оно отагрилось, даже я в шкаф не залез. Ёпта, как тебя кроет. Мало столько кроет, а что мне делать? Мне его убить? Или мне съёбывать надо? Мам, тихо. Что?
That maybe I can use this dagger.
А как пиздиться? А что ты хочешь сделать-то? Ломай, ебаш. Нет. Это было тупо. Это было настолько тупо.
What the hell was that?
Странно, я не понял. Почему не помогло, слушай. Да ёб твою мать. В этой хуйне нету...
That maybe I can use this dagger.
Здесь сраные комнатушки, как здесь можно просто один виток. Мне кажется, это... Блядь, тварь.
This dagger looks different.
Мне кажется, они рандомно становятся. Правда? Есть два витка. На, жри.
What's the matter with you?
Ты не могла прийти раньше?
You sure you won't be needing that hand? You're losing it, Detective. At this rate, you're right. The bottle will get you before I do.
You didn't see anything.
I saw you within an inch of putting a dagger through your forearm. Did I miss something more interesting?
Sanders was right. This painting is cursed.
What are you talking about?
I was attacked by a creature. I pushed it back, I think.
I think so too.
Серьезно?
You knew. You knew about the beast.
What are you talking about? Think yourself lucky that I saved your hand, even if it was to save my goods.
You mean me?
Don't flatter yourself, sweetheart. I'm talking about the contents of this gallery. And by the way, where do you think you're going with that dagger?
It saved my life. It's an extraordinary dagger.
You should talk to Algernon Drake. He's an antique dealer here on Darkwater. He'll tell you all about it. From what I saw in the ledgers, it was him who sold it to Sanders.
Вот да, вот я тоже так думаю, типа...
It's not your style to give me free information like that.
Take it as payment for being my canary. A simple trade-off. Now go see your antique seller. I've still got things to settle with Irene.
А если мы ей не сказали? Мы же тогда реально сказали, и она сказала нам. А если бы мы реально не сказали? Типа у нас... Блин, ну это... Чё наш герой так постоянно по-разному выглядит? То у него длинные волосы, то не длинные. Не знаю. Книжная лавка. Да, со скелетиком. Нормально. Ну, пока что все происходит, это тупо каноны Лавкрафта и хорроров. Но я доволен. Блин, мне просто интересно, сколько здесь концовок. Сколько? Тут не может быть 3 концовки. Мне кажется, тут концовок 20, как в Детройте, блядь. Ну тут просто охер. Блин, позвал у мента с собой. Он же все равно ничего не делает. Или в бабу хотя бы тут.
Where's the bookseller?
Ну, Крафт тебя не смущает.
Freud's the interpretation of dreams. It's the work that laid the foundations of psychoanalysis at the beginning of this century.
Столько намотаем себе книжек. Посмотрим всё на максимум. Слушай, я лампой вообще не пользуюсь, так по сути, да, ничего не пользуется. В принципе, так светло. Я не беру здесь мою половину. Тихо, туда потом по этому методу пропускания из-за того, что света их не видно. То, что тут такой прикол есть.
The Book of Zion is the foundational work behind Helena Blavatsky's Theosophical movement. Its followers place truth on the same footing as a religion.
Почему он так выяснится? Да.
What does this strange book contain? This book contains unholy knowledge.
В принципе, такая же книга. Слушай, вот ктулху. Не, другая херня. Сколько у нас уже медицины? 40. Чё бы еще выкинуть? В принципе, можно на рандом. Я не думаю, что здесь прям это самое. Что это совсем будет фундаментальный медицина. Третий том еще.
What happened here? Let's start over. Where did they break in from? Blood. Seems like amateur work. To whom does this footprint belong?
Мне кажется, он съебывал владельца.
No sign of struggle. If the burglar smashed this jar, it wasn't intentionally. Was he hurt then?
Ну, видимо, да. Ох, сколько здесь всего.
What killed all these animals?
Каких животных? Нихера себе.
What sort of thief leaves his tools at the crime scene? What happened that made the burglar flee before finishing his work? What the? Charles Hawkins? What's happening to Hawkins? What sort of power did Sarah Hawkins' painting possess?
Это НЕКРОНОМИКОN, вот я уверен.
Sarah Hawkins helped hide something in this safe.
Это НЕКРОНОМИКОN. Хотя я не знаю, вообще он там был. Мне
They
кажется,
put in a great deal of effort to hide whatever is in here. Everything is linked to the Sarah Hawkins case.
ещё нужно позже. Блин, ещё второй посмотрим. Слушай, подожди, так, чё это? Ничего больше. Окей.
Drake left instructions on how to find the combination of his safe.
Некрономикон. Ладно. Я напоминаю, по ходу этой локации вообще могло бы не быть, если бы мы бы не договорились с бабой. О 3 цилиндрах, скрытых там, где жизнь и учение объединяются в греческом слове. Учение это... Греческое учение, блядь, забыл. Жизнь, может быть, социум или био. Био, наверное. Учение. Учение. Хер знает, ладно. Пронумерованных этих говорит. Что порядок? Ну, беспорядок. Наслаждение. Поражение. Ох, ёпта, подожди. Хорошо, пока просто прочитаем, потом будем думать. Этот самый низкий университет. Там был Некромикон, я это помню. Там еще когда ну, пиздились в этом университете за Некромикон, там пытались пиздить или что-то такое, точно не помню. Я помню то, что в университете каком-то там, и по-моему, да, вот этот мискантонский, там был Некромикон. Но это не Некромикон, да. Если можешь растянуть опасность, ну ладно. Окей, смотри. Цилиндр пронумерован. Порядок, удовольствие, разум. Обычно всегда возобладает разум. Удовольствие, разум. Разум, порядок. Значит, они по порядку будут. Окей. Это было просто следующее. Вот по поводу... Где тут про... Где тут было про учение-то, ёпта? Где жизнь и учение объединяются в греческом слове. 3 цилиндрах, снятых там. У меня есть идея. То есть это... Чё?
What link did he find between Charles Hawkins and an old amulet? Is everyone on this island taking sleeping pills?
Слушай, снотворные сны. Все сходится. Бля, сколько здесь всего, я могу прям все посмотреть.
Arkham editions. Never heard of him.
По-моему, моя теория касательно...
Things are not looking good.
Да, я почему-то думал, то, что жизнь и учение это шахматы. Ну, ладно, это было тупо. Окей. Где телефон? Я же телефон разъебал. Так. Учение какое-нибудь. Учение, это, блядь.
How many volumes are there in this collection?
Архимское.
Another volume by Arkham editions. Arkham editions. How many volumes are there? Another volume by Arkham editions. Arkham editions. Never heard of. How many volumes are there in this collection?
Видимо, надо по этим.
Cylinders that Drake tried to hide. I should perhaps listen to them.
Даже он сказал на цилиндрах? Подожди. Я не понимаю, что происходит, честно. Да. Где у него тут этот плафон?
A kind of chalice.
Давай первый.
And these red drops, like precious stones, lie fixed, set in divine gold. To be the guardian of the Grail does not protect me from its attractions, Henry. And I do confess it. I am willing to pay to know its secrets. I finally understood that we were only pieces on the chessboard of the gods. Let those of us who are still standing protect our White Queen from their dark soldiers. I see our number dwindling, and my will strengthens as my apprehension grows. We shall refuse to be the playthings of destiny.
Как раз таки Ктулху, это божество.
Dear friend, I thank you again for the anthology of the works of Arkham editions that you sent me. Volume 9, Azathoth and Other Horrors, seemed particularly relevant to my research. I never tire of browsing through them.
9-й том.
The Queen has little protection.
Может быть, как-то... Я не знаю, так, ладно, 9-й том. Давайте будем...
Drake talked about a particular... So these are the volumes that... What did Drake say about this collection? Drake talked about a particular volume. So these are the volumes that Drake was talking about in his message. What did Drake say about this collection? Drake talked about a particular volume. So these are the volumes that Drake was talking about in his message.
Стоп. Я запутался еще больше. Подожди. Сейчас я кое-что проверю.
Dear friend, I thank you again for the anthology of the works of Arkham editions that you sent me. Volume 9, Azathoth and Other Horrors, seemed particularly relevant to my research. I never tire of browsing through them.
What did Drake say about this collection? Drake talked about a particular... So these are the volumes that Drake... What did Drake say about this collection?
Подожди, кошмарная лирика. 9-й том. Дай наугад, ебаный, подожди. 9-й. Так. Тут можно его взломать, то есть даже не это самое. Где он лежал?
Drake talked about a particular volume. So these are the volumes that Drake was talking about in his message. What did Drake say about this collection? Drake talked about a particular... So these are the volumes that Drake was talking about in his message. What did Drake say about this collection?
Были 3 шестерки, по-моему, здесь. Должен признать то, что я дебил.
Drake talked about a particular volume.
Ну вот он.
So these are the volumes that Drake was talking about in his message.
Давайте попробуем на это. Да ёп. Нет. Шейзе.
What did Drake say about this collection? Drake talked about a particular volume.
Давайте посмотрим еще.
Another volume of the Reverend's wife's diary.
Да, я очень жестко туплю. Просто не понимаю, книги по номеру он сказал про 9-й том. Что если просто сделать 9-й последний? Черт.
So these are the volumes that Drake was talking about in his message. What did Drake say about this collection? Drake talked about a particular volume.
Елена Петровна.
So these are the volumes that Drake was talking about in his message.
Давайте прервемся. Я загуглю. Точнее, пытаюсь найти перевод слов. Короче, подумаю. Так, я снова вернулся. Я прочитал, как надо было это разгадать, и это пиздец. Честно, нет. Ну, бухой бы я, может быть, догадался бы, но... В общем, да, в чем
The
суть?
chalice of knowledge.
Ну, вот с таким бы, да, я догадался. В общем, здесь камней 5. Потом он говорил про...
The queen has little protection.
Тут 7 фигур. И последняя 9-я книга. И, короче, король... Что там? 5... 5... 4... 9... Подожди, а почему 5? 7... 5, 3, 9, все. 5, 3, 9. Мы ничего не видели. Это жестко. Не, ну бухим можно догадаться. Это НЕКРОНОМИКОН. Да. Старая добрая книга мертвых. Ты его не сможешь прочитать. Не на обычном языке. Норм. Размученном теле. Окей. Да, загрузки тут, кстати, долгие. Ну, зато ничего не лагает. И это просто кайф. Надо будет это вырезать. Но я этого, конечно же, не сделаю. Блин, мне сейчас столько из попила этих крышечек можно уже будет шашки играть. Тем более вот здесь смотри.
Dr. Colden, this man's condition is deteriorating.
What says Dr. Fuller? It's his patient, after all.
He's busy with Captain Fitzroy. He specifically asked us not to bother him when that's the case.
Oh, of course. I'll see what I can do. Mr. Blake, can you hear me? I'm Dr. Colden. We'll take care of you.
There's nothing we can do. I tried talking to him. He's catatonic.
Did you inject him with a tranquilizer?
No, Doctor. Not me, not anyone. Our stock is empty, yet again.
Again? But there was enough for the whole island.
More and more people are suffering from insomnia. We can't refuse to help.
Of course.
Any idea what this man might be undergoing?
What can you tell me about him?
He was highly agitated an hour ago. We were about to tie him down when he fell asleep. 10 minutes ago, he curled up into a fetal position. I thought he was waking up, but no.
Понятно. Да, прикольно.
Show me his file.
That's not possible.
Don't tell me Dr. Fuller has taken this file as well. We need it.
That's why I called you. This man's ailment has been hidden from us.
Come on now. What was he treated for?
An intoxication, I was told. After inhaling chemicals.
What are his symptoms?
His temperature has been going down. His skin losing its color. His body rigid. I closed his eyes myself. They were glassing over. I didn't want them to dry out, and I couldn't bear to look at the expression on his face.
You did well. Don't worry. Let's stay professional,
Это
if you
она
will.
для врача.
I don't recognize him. Did he just arrive on the island?
He said he worked on the docks, but not with Captain Fitzroy. I think he works for Ms. Baker.
Who?
You know, the woman at the head of their gang. They call her Cat.
Oh, I see.
Do you have other questions?
That'll do for the time being.
Any idea what this man might be undergoing?
Просто напился.
Very well. I'll examine him.
Блин, красиво.
His skin shows abnormal loss of color and seems dried out. He's totally dehydrated. His fingertips and toes seem to feature a slight ring under the skin, tender at the touch, slightly sticky. Severe malnutrition. Swollen abdomen with traces of petechia. Doesn't seem like an edema. Slight protuberances seem to indicate the presence of a foreign body.
Чего вскрывать?
30-year-old subject. Severe hypothermia. Erythematous papules around the eyes and eardrums. Necrosed palpebral tissue. Lord, this smell.
So, Doctor, an opinion?
I'm not sure I have the necessary knowledge to treat this man.
Don't say that. You're our most worthy doctor after Dr. Fuller.
Some of his symptoms are beyond my comprehension.
What did you find?
Did you examine his abdomen? It would seem there's something inside.
He hasn't eaten in days. Are you certain it's not an edema?
No. Can't you recognize an edema? Pushing with your finger won't leave a trace. And look at these bumps.
It's not like he could be pregnant.
Whatever it is, this man has something inside him that shouldn't be there. We should operate on him at once.
Dr. Fuller said not to worry, that the edema would go away by itself.
You know,
Доктор Фуллер такой мудила.
I'm not sure Dr. Fuller is telling the truth.
Да он пидор.
In spite of the muscle contractions, his arms seem limp.
Yes. They can't have decalcified, not at this rate.
And yet, if there is a bone in this arm, it's softer than that of a newborn baby. What about his cranium?
It's soft at the touch. It does seem like the skull of a baby.
Look at these sticky rings growing at his fingertips. What can be happening?
I'm sure you'll find an explanation. You have to.
I see signs of hypodermoclysis, but he's still dehydrated. When was his last IV?
He's constantly under perfusion. I've even gone beyond the recommended dose to no avail. And you won't believe me, but when we bathed him earlier...
He seemed to feel better?
Yes. Like he needs an aquarium, not a perfusion. But that doesn't explain his condition.
А как человек может превращаться в ктулху?
I almost don't believe it myself, but these symptoms are not those usually associated with the human species.
What do you mean? Don't tell me you believe in extraterrestrials.
No. This poor man is from our world, all right. But his body is undergoing unnatural mutations. And this transformation is killing him. His body simply can't cope.
Where could he have gotten such an infection?
I pray that it's not here.
Dr. Colden, may I know what you're doing to my patient?
What I'm doing? How about what you've done to him?
Let us calm down, my dear Marie. I don't appreciate your tone, nor your insinuations. I've done to him what I do to all my patients. Provide him with the best available care.
Your imagination is without limit. It's your homemade drug again, is it not? Those people are not your guinea pigs.
There, there. What have you seen to put you in such a state?
These are alarming symptoms. If we don't act, he'll die.
Do you believe that? I'm not as convinced, you see. I even think this man has a strong chance of completely healing from his ailments.
No, Doctor. This patient isn't himself anymore. He's dying.
Really? What do you mean by isn't himself?
He's changing. His physical characteristics, they are more animal than human now.
Fascinating. An animal, you say? Could you be more precise? Cephalopod, perhaps?
This amuses you.
Your reaction does. I know your thirst for knowledge, Doctor. It's your innocent worries for this man that have you overreacting.
For this man, and the others whose medical files you've been hiding.
I have to protect my discovery. These people owe me their life, but the world isn't ready yet. It will be, in time.
I will not let you do this.
You disappoint me, Marie, but I still have hope you'll one day share my point of view. In the meantime, take care of your own patients and try not to forget who you're dealing with.
Was that a threat? What did he mean?
It was a warning. Dr. Fuller is this institution's founder and one of our profession's most influential voices. My word is of no weight against his. If I continue to protest, I will only ruin my reputation and career.
It's scandalous. Can't we do anything? Is there no evidence of his crimes?
Интересно, зачем НЕКРОНОМИКОН? Да хрен знает. Почему нам НЕКРОНОМИКОн? Интересно.
Don't you get involved in this. You've done enough already.
But Doctor, this man is dying.
There's nothing we can do about it. He's in the hands of Dr. Fuller. Do you wish to end up like Elizabeth? With a diploma from Nightingale and the chores of a cleaning lady?
No. You're right.
Let me do my own investigation. It's time I found those missing files.
And where would you find those? In his office? What if you get caught?
I'd rather not think about that. I'm counting on your discretion.
Of course, Doctor. You can count on me. I'll keep Mum.
Серьезно, мы сейчас пойдем тупо воровать карты? Жесть, конечно, тут все было. Так, давайте пока закончим здесь, продолжим тогда в следующей серии. Ну, наконец-то я нашел то, что искал. Это был НЕКРОНОМИКОН. Господи, я доволен.
No, you're pulling my leg. I'm not joking. I saw the schedule. She's alone in the bathroom again.
And she still says nothing to that old witch, Donovan?
Oh, listen to the way you talk, you naughty girl. And the answer is no. You can imagine that she doesn't dare say a thing. That silly goose lets herself be trodden.
Oh well, at least we won't have to clean.
Everybody says it. She's a witch, an old hag. I didn't make this up.
It's so
and I'm the one who pays. What a pest.